Okay. So hello guys. Good afternoon. So today is April 1 on a Wednesday afternoon, and hmm, it's still it's actually day 19 of our quarantine, and let's just learn something today. Diba? So today, guys, ang topic natin is Myelodysplastic syndrome or dysmyelopoietic syndrome. So guys, nakagulat no? We're actually done. We're finished with hemostasis, with the topic of hemostasis. And we're heading in the realms of leukemia, anemia. Yun na lang. Yun na lang ang mga last topic natin. So here, to start our topic on leukemia, let's talk about a pre-leukemia first. So pag sinasabi nating pre-leukemia, first leukemia, what do you think? Increase WBC, decrease WBC pag leukemia? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Guys, it's increased, diba? There's abnormal increase because it's a blood cancer. Here, this MDS or DMPS, this myelopoietic syndrome or myelodysplastic syndrome, these are pre-leukemic or pre-cancer. So this have the chances about 30% cases of having MDS, they will lead to cancer, specifically acute myeloid leukemia. Yan. Simulan na natin. So, MDS and DMPS. So, guys, it's really easy, guys. Medyo marami nga lang. So, here, starting with the name tayo. Sa name, parang nakaka-overwhelm pala tong slide ko. Sa name na lang muna tayo. So, it starts with myelo and dysplastic. So myelo, it points out to the bone marrow, myelo, but specifically to the myeloid stem cell. Sa pamilyang myeloid stem cell. Your myeloid stem cell, if we will review your hematopoiesis, guys, your pluripotent stem cell will give rise to two progenitor cells. We have myeloid stem cell and lymphoid stem cell. So, ang myeloid stem cell, it will give rise to your granulocytes, yung neutrophils, basophils, at ang platelets and erythrocytes. On the other hand, your lymphoid progenitor cell will give rise to a granular. So, mga B cells, T cells, yung mga lymphocytes natin, natural killer cells, and the like. Yan. So, ang focus natin dito sa myelodysplastic syndrome are the myeloid stem cells. In your handout, sabi niya, it's a group of disorders. So, marami-rami to. So, in a group of disorders that result from clonal abnormalities of hematopoietic pluripotent potential stem cell. So guys, here in the myelodysplastic syndrome, there is the abnormal, yeah, there is the abnormal clone of cells, growth of abnormal clone of cells in the bone marrow. Specifically, your myeloid stem cell class, they are abnormal. So if your stem cells are abnormal, hence it will produce abnormal mature cells. Sa bone marrow natin, may napanood ako sa YouTube that they describe myelodysplastic syndrome as someone who's having a lazy bone marrow or their bone marrow sucks. Why? Because this bone marrow create abnormal stem cells which clones into abnormal mature cells. And so myelo stands for bone marrow dysplasia is abnormal growth and development. Pero guys, ang dysplasia, there is two meanings. Dysplasia has two meanings. In the school of thinking for pathology, dysplasia means pre-cancerous. In hematology, dysplasia stands for pre-leukemia. So, diba, it makes sense na myelodysplasia happens before having leukemia. It's pre-cancerous. So it's not cancerous yet, but it is bound to be cancer. So there's something wrong. So, tingnan natin dito. So guys, these are your, yan, diba? Yan, yung from Hemo 1, diba? Favorite natin yan. So, there's something wrong in our myeloid stem cell, itong mga myeloid stem cell, wherein, so, it will create blast cells, which are abnormal as well. So, how can you expect unhealthy blast cell will form a healthy platelet, 'di ba? Kung ano ang puno, siya ang bunga. So kung ang puno ay abnormal, the ancestor cells, the parent cells are abnormal, hence it will produce abnormal mature cells. Ganito ha, yun yun. Yun ang gist nito. But the greatest gist, greatest gist, ano ba yun? Parang hindi okay yun. But can I draw? Yeah. So, the bone marrow finding. So, if you're going to look at the bone, galing. So, if you're going to look at the bone marrow, guys, its resulting finding should be hypercellular. Dapat hindi bone marrow findings, so in-underline ko eh. Dapat so among MDS patients or DMPS is what Stillinger uses. In DMPS cases, bone marrow class lahat to lahat ng may DMPS, lahat sila hypercellular ang bone marrow. And once you're going to look at their CBC or peripheral blood findings, you will find pancytopenia or anemia. So in your notes, there is overproduction. There is absence of overproduction. So it points out in the peripheral blood findings. So pancytopenia, absence of overproduction in the peripheral blood smear. But in the bone marrow, guys, it's hypercellular. So MDS and or DMPS is different from aplastic anemia. Kasi in aplastic anemia class, the bone marrow is hypocellular. And so you can differentiate it. The bone marrow findings is hypercellular. Guys, we expect in the bone marrow that it should have less than 20 blasts, 20% blasts. Let me tell it again. So it's hypercellular, though we only expect in an MDS patient to having less than 20% of blast cells. And because if it's more than 20% of blast cells, it can be leukemia. Yeah. So class, in an MDS patient, we don't look for blast cells in the peripheral blood smear, in the circulation. We look for blast cells in the bone marrow. Yan. In leukemic patients class, yun, doon lumalabas ang blast cells. Pero dito, wala masyado. But there is pancytopenia, guys. Decreased lahat. Ang myeloid ang mga cells in the myeloid origin. So, red blood cells, decrease. Pancytopenia nga eh. So, decreased red blood cells, decreased WBCs, decreased platelets. Yan. And since next class. So here, it is pre-leukemic siya. Pre-leukemic. So, it can progress. So, if the blast exceeds more than 20%, so that's what we monitor, the number of blasts. So, pag nag-exceed yun, it can proceed to acute myeloid leukemia. So, not acute lymphoid. Kasi ang may mali, myeloid stem cell. Ha? Diba? Galing no, guys? So, mostly, it's very rare. It's very rare to find kids having MDS. Most of the people of having MDS are more than 50 years old in your notes. And the median age is 60 years old. So, pang matatandang sakit to. Yeah. And class, its primary cause is actually unknown, pwedeng mutation, they don't know. And the secondary cause of myelodysplastic anemia, myelodysplastic syndrome, are the people who undergone, dito sa pinakababa ng slide ko, chemotherapy, X-ray, chemical exposure. And this is according to Roddock and Stillinger. Huwag kakalimutan na. So, hypercellular bone marrow and pancytopenia in the CBC or peripheral blood finding. So, class, we have triad of symptoms. So, sinabi ko na nga sa inyo, di ba? Sinabi ko na that there is um, there is there is decrease in red blood cells. Yan. Decrease in platelets. Decrease in WBC. Hence, guys, so there can be bleeding. Yan. So, platelets natin. Fatigue, weakness from decreased RBC. Fever. So, the person is more prone to infection kasi nga decreased WBC. Yan. Neutrophils, granulocytes. Yan. So, in a patient with pancytopenia, umunti talaga yung amount of cells. Triad of symptoms. This is according to Stininder. So, last time, Henry lang binabasa ko. Ngayon, marami kong binasa class kasi gusto ko talagang maintindihan ko anong MDS. So, diagnostic study. So, dysplastic. So, pag dysplastic, abnormal growth and development. So, expect this erythropoiesis, this granulopoiesis, this megakaryocytopoiesis. Yan. So, there's abnormal growth and development. So, if you're going to do 3 tests, complete blood count, peripheral smear, and bone marrow biopsy, this should be the expected result of a person with MDS. So, number 1, pancytopenia. Next, complete blood count. Increase MCV. So, MCV stands for mean corpuscular volume. So, volume. So, this points out to the size. So, sabi niya increase. So, ang normal value, guys, na MCV is 80 to 100 femtoliters. So, more than 100 femtoliters. So, pag mataas ang volume, ibig sabihin, there are presence of macrocytes. Yan. RDW, increase red blood cell distribution width. So, ibig sabihin nito, there's increased variation of shapes. Yan, increase RDW. Yan. If the medic will perform peripheral blood smear, this can be the findings. Pelger-Hewitt WBC. Paki-review nga yan. Pelger-Hewitt. Next, basophilic stippling of RBC. Giant hypogranular platelets. Ringed sideroblasts. Macrocytic and microcytic RBC. So guys, diba? Ito na, diba? Naalala niyo yan? Can we annotate again? So here is your Pelger-Hewitt. So, Pelger-Hewitt affects your WBC. Sabi na nga natin, di ba? Abnormal growth and development of your mature cells. So, here, as you notice, in your Pelger-Hewitt, anong meron? Hypersegmentation or hyposegmentation? Diba? Hyposegmentation. Ibig sabihin, kulang yung segments ng WBCs natin because abnormal nga yung growth and development. So guys, this is your basophilic stippling. So in your hemo-1, basophilic stippling is common in lead poisoning. But it's also common when there is this erythropoiesis. Ayan. So I think these are RNA, diba? Yung sa basophilic stippling. This guys, itong cute na to, these are your ringed sideroblasts. Ring sideroblast. So, yung mapapansin nyo, ang ring sideroblast, guys, it's usually stained with Prussian blue. Bakit Prussian blue ang ginagamit? Because it will stain the iron content. So notice, guys, the iron contents accumulates in the mitochondria area. There's an accumulation of iron, kaya nga ring sideroblast. There's something wrong with protoporphyrin 9. Hindi ko makapit doon yung iron. Kasi dapat, to make heme, it should be protoporphyrin 9 plus iron through the action of ferrochelatase and lalaway pa ako. And apparently, there's something wrong with ferrochelatase. That's why your iron does not attach to protoporphyrin 9. Kaya parang kalat-kalat siya. And this one, on the upper corner, guys, these are your hypogranular, giant hypogranular platelets. So, yun, abnormal. There is this megakaryopoiesis. So, abnormal ang maturation ng mga megakaryocytes. Kaya, ganyan ang itsura ng platelets. So, class, all this happens due to dysplasia, abnormal development. What else? Andito tayo, macrocytic and microcytic. Because, ayun, there, microcytic and macrocytic, pinapakita yun ng MCV at RDW. Bone marrow biopsy. So, class, the blast is less than 20%. Kasi if it's more than 20%, it will be leukemia already. Expect hypercellularity of your bone marrow and leukoerythroblastosis. There is increase in mature red blood cells. There is increase in immature red blood cells, increased in immature WBCs, but does not exceed 20%. So, medyo ang tamad talaga ng bone marrow. There's something wrong with the bone marrow. It's not doing its job. So guys, so to begin our classifications in the naming and classifications of hematopoietic malignancy. Ma'am, sabi mo pre-leukemia pa lang to. Yeah, but we have these two organizations which are trying to classify diseases yan in regards to malignancy. So actually, malapit, di ba, pre-leukemia naman kasi ang MDS. So we have French, American, British, and WHO. Yan. So sa FAB, so they base only on two. Yung classifications nila ng MDS, they only base it on two criteria. We have cellular morphology and cytochemical stain. Sabi niya, it defines acute leukemia as having more than 30% plus. Ma'am, pinagloloko muna mga kami, sabi mo 20% kayo. Sabi niyang FAB, 30%. Yan. Sabi ng WHO, 20%. So, now, guys, WHO is the standard for diagnosis. So, this is what the doctors use, because not only it uses the criteria which are cellular morphology and cytochemical staining, but they also use immunologic probe of cells, markers, cytogenetics, so genes, molecular biology, symptoms. Syndrome means a group of symptoms. Yan. So mas maraming criteria yung pag-classify ng WHO. So in your notes, guys, what we will really use is WHO standard. But I need to introduce you with the FAB classification. 5 lang naman. So we have refractory anemia. So 5. We have RARS, refractory anemia with ring sideroblast, refractory anemia with excess blast, RABE, refractory anemia with excess blast in transformation, and CMML, chronic myelomonocytic leukemia. Excuse me. So guys, ma'am, sabi mo pre-leukemia, but FAB, why does FAB indicates here chronic myelomonocytic leukemia? Because FAB class doesn't believe, the FAB, French, American, British organization, does not believe that MDS is pre-leukemic. They believe it's leukemic. That's why they included leukemia here. And but what we're going to use is WHO classification year 2008. And don't worry, guys. Hindi nyo naman kailangang i-memorize lahat. So, makinig lang kayo sa mga sasabihin ko. So, this is the same with your notes. Yan. Kinopya ko lang rin to sa may WHO. So, first off, guys, is refractory anemia. So, now, refractory anemia in WHO, and it's refractory anemia. So, in WHO, kinlassify niya ng iisa. So, refractory cytopenia with unilineage dysplasia. Ibig sabihin, class, isang family line lang yung may abnormality. So, refractory anemia, so it points out to decrease red blood cell only. Yan. Refractory neutropenia, so it points out to only the decrease of neutrophils. And refractory thrombocytopenia. So, nilagay niya sa isang classification. Diba? Very easy lang. Nilagay niya sa isang classification yung mga refractory test. So, dito sa refractory cytopenia with unilineage dysplasia, this group of diseases has the lowest chance of complicating into acute myeloid leukemia. So, notice, so sa second column is your peripheral blood finding. So, sa peripheral blood smear, unicytopenia. So, pwedeng isa lang ang decrease, pwedeng dalawa ang decrease by cytopenia. And class, notice, greater equal or greater. So there's something wrong with, there's dysplasia of greater than 10% of the myeloid lineage. Ito, less than 5% lang ang blast. So malayo pa sa 20%. So it has the lowest chance of being a acute myeloid leukemia. Guys, so pag narinig nyo na yung refractory na word, dapat yung mind nyo, it will instantly go to myelodysplastic syndrome, refractory. When we say refractory, it does not respond to any medication. So baka, syempre yung doctor, baka ni-roll out niya, iron deficiency anemia, megaloblastic anemia. However, despite the different therapies, kasi, di ba, pag megaloblastic, basically, vitamin B12, binigyan na ng vitamin B12, iron deficiency, binigyan ng iron, pero hindi nag respond. So, perhaps, it's refractory anemia. So, MDS pala. Next class, refractory anemia with ring sideroblast. Yan. So, apparently, with ring sideroblast now, so the iron accumulates in the mitochondria of the cell. So, there's something wrong with the protoporphyrin 9 and the ferrochelatase. So, guys, sabi niya, there is, syempre kay RARS or ring refractory anemia with ring sideroblast, sa kanya mo lang makikita that there is the presence of ring sideroblast. Yan. So, anemia lang ang may mali dito, mga kapatid. Ang mali dito, anemia lang. So, it's not pancytopenia yet. And less than 5%. So, low chance of being an AML. So, usually class, they can manage itong mga to. Next, refractory cytopenia with multi-lineage. So, hindi lang red blood cell ang affected, it can be neutrophils and platelets. Now, guys, still the blast is less than 5% in the bone marrow. However, guys, you can see ring sideroblasts. But there is more than 2 lineage which are present. So, there's something wrong with the neutrophil, erythroid, and megakaryocytes. Yan, 2 lineage. May sideroblast rin siya. But it's not only the red blood cell which is affected, but also the neutrophil or megakaryocyte. Kaya siya multi-lineage. Ayaw. How? Wait lang. Paano mag-move? Yeah. Okay. So, clear, annotate, clear. All my drawings. Yeah. Okay, next tayo. So, here, refractory anemia with excess blast. For here, so, cytopenia, hindi ko makita. So, excess blast, cytopenias. So, naapektuhan na red blood cell, neutrophils, and megakaryocytes. We have talaga less than 1 times 10 raised to 9 monocytes. So, bumaba ang monocytes and there is 5 to 9% of blast. So, tumataas na ang number of blast natin. Kaya with excess blast na ang pangalan niya. So, this increases the risk of complicating into AML. Refractory anemia with excess blasts. So, notice that there is, ito na ang pinakamataas na blast cells. 10 to 19% of blast cells when it comes to refractory anemia with excess blast 2, RAID 2. Yan. So, may RAIB1, RAIB2. Next, may myelodysplastic syndrome unclassified. So, class, very non-showbiz to. But notice that it's less than 5% of blast. And finally, class, itong gusto kong discuss is MDS associated with isolated deleted 5q. So 5q stands for long arm, Q kasi P short arm, Q long arm. So chromosome 5 long arm. So there's a deleted portion in the long arm of chromosome 5. Yan. So actually notice that it has less than 5% blast. So actually, good prognosis. Good prognosis pag may deleted portion kan in the long arm of chromosome 5. It has better chromosome prognosis compared to REA-bit1 and RA. Yeah. Okay. So, now, itong myelodysplastic, pakomplikaduhin natin, meron pang isang term, myeloproliferative. Yan, myeloproliferative. So, notice, class, diba, sa myelodysplastic, hypercellular, ang bone marrow, ang circulation, there is pancytopenia. So, your myelodysplastic affects your myeloid stem cell. The same naman with your myeloproliferative. Kaya myelo pangalan niya kasi myeloid stem cell pa rin ang focus natin. However, there is adequate maturation and you can see no cytopenia. So, no pancytopenia sa myeloproliferative. Proliferative. So there is still abnormality with the growth and production, but it's not decreased. That decreased. Walang cytopenia. Okay? So, palihilapan natin ang buhay natin. So, meron tayong disorders or neoplasms which has either or characteristics. Pwedeng myelodysplastic, parehong myeloproliferative. So, myelodysplastic, myeloproliferative disorders or neoplasms. Yeah, neoplasms is what Henry calls it. So, these disorders have both characteristics of myelodysplastic and myeloproliferative. Okay? So, first one is CMML. According to FAB classification, di ba? Kasama to sa mga MDS nila. But in WHO classification, it's part of the myelodysplastic or myeloproliferative disorder or neoplasms. So, pwede naman disorder na lang. So, guys, in chronic myelomonocytic leukemia, it has the persistence of monocytosis, oocyst. So, may cytosis siya. Yan. So, you can see monocytosis or leukocytosis in CMML. So, the number of blasts is still less than 20%. So, nasa pre-leukemia range pa rin siya. And guys, it does not have Philadelphia chromosome. So, Philadelphia chromosome, if this is present, this gives a bad prognosis. Pag sinabi nating bad prognosis, the results in the future is undesirable. It has undesirable results in the future. So it has no Philadelphia chromosome. So Philadelphia chromosome in your notes is meron nakalagay dyan, diba? BCR or BCR ABL. Actually, mas okay ata. BCR-AB hyphen ABL. So your BCR is from chromosome 22. Abnormal fusion in chromosome 22. So in chromosome 22 there is BCR. May BCR portion doon. So apparently ABL from chromosome 9. Chromosome 9, a portion of chromosome 9 fused to chromosome 22. Kaya, excuse me, kaya it's BCR ABL. Alright. Yeah. And class, it's positive with a cytochemical stain which is non-specific esterase. It is positive for the cytochemical stain which is non-specific esterase. Why? Because of the presence of monocytes. So anything that is monocytic in origin will be positive for non-specific esterase. So guys, itong CMML natin, negative sa specific esterases. But it's positive to non-specific esterase because of its monocytes. Naintindihan? So its name is chronic myelomonocytic leukemia. So there is persistence of monocytes. Yeah. There is still less than 20% of blasts. So this is not, though it's named as a cancer, it's not yet cancer. Yan. CMML. So may mga monocytes. So, yung mga monocytes natin. Yan, mga monocytes. So there is increased number of monocytes. And ACML, a typical chronic myeloid leukemia. So guys, meron din tayong leukocytosis, but it doesn't say neutrophils. Due to mature and immature neutrophils with prominent dysgranulopoiesis. Yan. Yun ang naman yun, di ba? No Philadelphia chromosome. Juvenile myelomonocytic leukemia. So there's something wrong with both granulocytic and monocytic lineages. So Philadelphia chromosome negative. CML or monosomy 7. Monosomy 7, juvenile myelomonocytic leukemia. Okay, guys. So that's our discussion for the day. And before we go, I just want to give you a case study. Exciting talk. So here we have a 70-year-old female who had her follow-up checkup with the complaints of she said, I'm tired all the time and cannot walk as much as I used to. Upon physical examination, the findings were pale conjunctiva. Yan. So, the laboratory results. So, hemoglobin, 9.1 gram per DL. Kayo, i-search nyo, normal ba yan? Increase ba yan? Decrease? Hematocrit, 33% for a 70-year-old female. 1.4 times 10 raised to 9 per liter. So, I want you to review on your normal values. Platelet count, 103,000 per microliter. Diba ang normal 200 to 400,000? Next, peripheral blood smear shows macrocytes, hyposegmented neutrophil, large agranulocytic platelets. The bone marrow biopsy show 11% of blasts, hypercellular marrow with increased RBC and WBC blast cells. So, yung question ko, sagutan nyo na lang sa isip nyo, hindi ko sabihin yung sagot. What is the most probable disease of the patient? And number 2, what is the patient, dapat yan, sorry. What is the patient most likely at risk of? What is the patient most likely at risk of? Sorry. So, yan. So, answer it at home. So, magbibigay ako ng quiz after this one. So, I'll see you guys. I'm thinking about you. I'm praying about you. I'll see you. Thank you for listening. Shucks. Hindi ko nag-record pa. Stop recording!